September 13th, 1978. The air in the studio was thick with hairspray, cheap cologne, and the electric buzz of a live television audience. 3 bachelors sat behind a partition, their identities hidden, their personalities their only weapon. And on the other side, a beautiful, unsuspecting bachelorette, Cheryl Bradshaw, ready to choose her dream date. The host, Jim Lange, introduced Bachelor Number One, Rodney Alcala. He was witty. He was confident. He called himself a successful photographer. He answered the questions with a smooth, practiced charm that made the audience giggle. He was, by all appearances, the perfect catch. But what the audience, the host, and especially Cheryl Bradshaw didn't know was that Bachelor Number One wasn't just a contestant. He was a predator, a serial killer. A man who had already left a trail of brutalized bodies across the country. This is not just a story about a killer. This is a deep dive into the chilling psychology of a man who used charm as a weapon. A man who hunted in plain sight, and the terrifying moment when the line between entertainment and absolute horror blurred forever. Stay with us. Because the answer Cheryl Bradshaw gave, the choice she made, is one of the most chilling near misses in true crime history. And it's only the beginning of the nightmare that was Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. To understand the monster, we have to look at the boy. Rodney Alcala was born Rodrigo Jacques Alcala Bucher in San Antonio, Texas in 1943. His early life was marked by instability. His father abandoned the family when Rodney was just 12. This is a common thread in the tapestry of many serial killers. A foundational trauma, a void that can never be filled. Rodney was intelligent, with an IQ reportedly in the genius range. He was also a loner, described by peers as awkward and withdrawn. He had a fascination with photography, a hobby that would later become a terrifying tool of his trade. His first known violent act came in 1968, long before the bright lights of Hollywood. He was 25 years old. His victim was an 8-year-old girl named Taylor Shapiro. Alcala abducted her, sexually assaulted her, and brutally beat her. He left her for dead. Miraculously, Taylor survived. The police were on his trail. They found his apartment, but Alcala had vanished. He was charged with assault and attempted murder, but he was gone. He had done what he would do best for the next decade: disappear into the crowd. He changed his name to John Berger and enrolled in the prestigious New York University Film School. Think about that for a moment. A man who had just left an 8-year-old girl for dead was now studying the art of storytelling and visual deception in one of the world's most competitive cities. This wasn't just hiding. This was an active, calculated effort to build a new, charming persona. He was eventually caught in New Hampshire and extradited back to California. He pleaded guilty to the assault of Taylor Shapiro and served a short sentence. He was paroled in 1974. And this is where the true horror begins. The mid-1970s were Alcala's golden age of terror. He was a free man, armed with a camera, a charming smile, and a predatory instinct honed by years of suppressed violence. He moved to Los Angeles and began working as a freelance photographer. This was his perfect cover. He approached young women, often on beaches or in public places, offering to take their portfolio shots. His victims were drawn in by his apparent professionalism and his easygoing manner. The camera was his lure. It was a tool of intimacy, a way to gain trust, and most disturbingly, a way to capture his victims in their final, terrifying moments. His confirmed victims from this period include Jill Barkham, 18, found in the Hollywood Hills in November 1977. Georgia Wickstead, 27, found in Malibu in December 1977. Charlotte Lamb, 32, found in El Monte in June 1978. Jill Parento, 21, found in Burbank in June 1979. The brutality of the attacks was escalating. Alcala didn't just kill, he tortured. He would often strangle his victims, then revive them, only to strangle them again, a sadistic game of control and power. This is a key psychological marker, the need for absolute dominance, the desire to play God with another person's life. But Alcala was more than just a killer. He was a collector. When police finally searched his storage locker years later, they found over 1,000 photographs of young women and girls. Some were posed, some were sleeping. Some were clearly taken without their knowledge. Many of these women have never been identified. The sheer volume of these images suggests a victim count far higher than the 5 murders he was initially convicted for in California. This is the terrifying reality of the serial killer's mind. The victims are not people. They are trophies. They are objects to be collected, documented, and possessed. And while this reign of terror was underway, Alcala decided to take his act to the biggest stage possible. In the summer of 1978, Rodney Alcala, a man who had just murdered at least 3 women in the span of 7 months, walked onto the set of one of America's most popular game shows. He was Bachelor Number One. The Bachelorette was Cheryl Bradshaw. The questions were light, flirty, and designed to reveal personality. But for Alcala, they were a performance, a chance to prove how well he could wear the mask of normalcy. Bachelor Number One. What is the best way to enjoy a delicious date? Alcala, I'm a night person. I like to go out and have a good time. I like to go out to dinner, and then I like to go out to a nice, quiet place where we can talk. And then maybe a little swimming. He was playing the game perfectly. He was the most charismatic of the 3 bachelors. The audience loved him. But then something shifted. Cheryl Bradshaw, the bachelorette, felt an inexplicable chill. Later, she would describe it as a feeling of dread, a sense that something was deeply wrong with Bachelor Number One. She couldn't see him, but she could hear him. And her intuition, that primal, life-saving instinct, was screaming. When it came time for the big reveal, the moment of truth, the host asked her to make her choice. Cheryl, who will it be? Bachelor Number 1, 2, or 3? She chose Bachelor Number 3. Cheryl Bradshaw had dodged a bullet. She later told reporters that after the show she saw Alcala backstage and found him creepy. She refused to go on the date she had won. But the most chilling part of this segment is the timeline. Alcala was actively killing before and after his television appearance. He was literally hunting while the cameras were rolling. The mask was so convincing that he was able to audition, rehearse, and perform, all while maintaining the secret of his monstrous double life. This moment of near contact with a serial killer on national television is the perfect encapsulation of his psychological profile. The ultimate narcissist, craving attention and validation, even as he was committing unspeakable acts. The game show appearance didn't stop him. It only fueled his ego. His final confirmed victim in California was Robin Samsoe, a 12-year-old girl. On June 20, 1979, Robin was riding her bicycle to a ballet class in Huntington Beach. She never made it. Alcala abducted her, sexually assaulted her, and murdered her. Her body was found 12 days later in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains. This time, however, Alcala made a mistake. A witness saw Alcala with Robin near the beach. More importantly, Robin's mother identified a pair of gold ball earrings found in Alcala's possession as belonging to her daughter. The police finally had their man. Rodney Alcala was arrested and charged with the murder of Robin Samsoe. But the legal battle was far from over. Alcala's legal journey was a masterclass in manipulation and delay. He was convicted of Robin Samsoe's murder in 1980, but the conviction was overturned on appeal. He was retried in 1986 and convicted again, but that conviction was also overturned. This is a crucial point in the psychological profile of a killer like Alcala. He was not just fighting for his freedom. He was fighting for control. He loved the spotlight. He loved the intellectual sparring. He even represented himself during his final trial. In 2010, Alcala was tried for the murder of Robin Samsoe, along with 4 other women, Jill Barkham, Georgia Wickstead, Charlotte Lamb, and Jill Parenteau. He acted as his own attorney. His defense was bizarre, rambling, and often included showing the jury photographs of his victims, trying to suggest they were willing participants in a sexual encounter. He was attempting to re-victimize them, even from the defense table. The prosecution, however, had a powerful new weapon, DNA evidence. The evidence was overwhelming. On March 30, 2010, the jury found Rodney Alcala guilty of all 5 murders. During the penalty phase, Alcala was given the opportunity to present evidence to spare his life. Instead, he chose to sing a bizarre, self-penned love song to the court. It was the final grotesque act of a man who saw his life as a performance, a man who could not distinguish between a courtroom and a stage. He was sentenced to death. The true scope of Alcala's crimes was revealed not by his confessions, he never gave a full one, but by his photographs. After his 2010 conviction, police released over 120 of the photos found in his storage locker, hoping to identify the women and girls in them. The response was immediate and overwhelming. People recognized friends, sisters, and even themselves. These photographs are the most chilling artifact of the case. They are a window into the mind of a predator. They show women in various states of undress, some smiling, some looking uncomfortable, some clearly unconscious. The sheer number of these images suggests that Alcala was a prolific serial killer, potentially one of the most active in American history. He was later charged and convicted of 2 more murders in New York: Ellen Hover in 1977 and Cornelia Crilly in 1971. His confirmed victim count rose to 7, but investigators believe the true number could be in the dozens, or even over 100. He was a coast-to-coast killer, moving seamlessly between states, always finding new victims, always using his camera and his charm as his entry point. Let's break down the psychology of Rodney Alcala, the man who could switch from charming game show contestant to brutal killer in a single breath. Narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, and grandiosity. Alcala's decision to appear on The Dating Game was the ultimate act of narcissism. He wasn't just looking for a date. He was seeking validation, attention, and a public platform. He believed he was smarter than the police, smarter than the system, and that his charm was an impenetrable shield. The love song he sang in court was his final desperate plea for the spotlight. Sadistic sexual motivation. His crimes were not just about sex. They were about power and torture. The pattern of strangling and reviving his victims is a classic sign of a sadistic killer who derives pleasure from the victims, terror and the feeling of absolute control over their life and death. The act of photography was an extension of this control, a way to freeze the moment of his dominance forever. The chameleon persona. Alcala was a master of the mask of sanity, a term often used to describe psychopaths. He was able to present himself as a successful photographer, a film student, and a witty bachelor. This ability to compartmentalize his life, the charming public figure versus the private monster, is what allowed him to evade capture for so long. The core of psychopathy, lack of empathy and remorse. Alcala's ability to live a double life, to charm a television audience hours after committing a brutal murder, is the hallmark of a high-functioning psychopath. He possessed a profound and total lack of empathy. His victims were not human beings to him. They were objects to be used and discarded. This emotional void allowed him to commit acts of extreme cruelty without any internal conflict or remorse. This is why he could return to his normal life, his photography, and his pursuit of fame, immediately after taking a life. The murder was simply a means to satisfy a dark internal need, and the rest of his life was the perfect camouflage. He didn't look like a monster. He looked like the guy next door. And that is the most terrifying psychological lesson of the Rodney Alcala case. The most dangerous predators are often the ones who are best at blending in. Rodney Alcala died of natural causes in prison in 2021 at the age of 77, still on death row. He took the secrets of his true victim count with him. But his legacy lives on, not just in the grief of the families he destroyed, but in the cultural consciousness of true crime. The story of the dating game killer is a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk beneath the surface of everyday life. It's a story about the failure of the justice system to keep a known predator locked away. It's a story about the power of a woman's intuition. Cheryl Bradshaw's gut feeling saved her life. And perhaps most importantly, it's a story about the mask. The mask of charm, the mask of success, the mask of normalcy that a monster can wear to walk among us. Every time you hear a story about a charming stranger, every time you see a seemingly perfect person on a screen, remember Rodney Alcala? Remember the man who won a date on national television while the police were searching for the bodies of his victims. The game was never about love. It was always about life and death. And for Rodney Alcala, the ultimate prize was the thrill of the hunt. Be careful who you let into your life. The mask is always on.